Hey, good evening, everyone. It's yours truly, Tammy B, and we are back for another episode of Real Talk with Tammy B and Company. And I just want to first off just say how I am so grateful for each and every one of you for tuning in with us. And I'm going to, before I introduce our guest and talk about mention my man Shelly, I want to put this disclaimer out. This conversation tonight is going to be a little deep. Everybody is not ready for this, but I think this is a conversation that needs to be had. So I want to say all the information being shared is the express opinion of each individual on this platform. A lot of it will challenge one's level of awareness. However, we are having these conversations to open our minds, remove limited belief systems, and in a non-judgmental way. So all are welcome to share in the chat, and you're welcome to agree or disagree. However, let us be mindful and respectful to one another. And I also want to ask you, if you are not part of our community, please join us by clicking the subscribe button, as we are here weekly bringing new content. Also, if you have a story or some knowledge and some information to share, email me at that's a woman. My handle is on the screen at gmail.com for your voluntary consideration to join us. Now, I do want to say hello to my man Shelly Sims. Hey, Shelly.
Hello. Welcome again, and thank you. It's an honor. I'm glad I'm here, and I'm definitely ready to learn something new today.
Oh, Shelly, you are getting ready to learn some stuff. So you may not even be aware of the stuff that you are about to be exposed to tonight. It's deep, but it's going to be good. It's all about edifying and lifting us up and expanding consciousness. That's what it's about. And so before I introduce our guest speaker as well, I want to acknowledge that we are in Black History Month. And so I want to first thank our ancestors for forging the path forward for us and acknowledge their pain and their suffering and say a big hearty thank you to them for paving the way for us. And also, I want to open up with this little Black history fact. Did you all know Rebecca Lee Crumpler? In 1864, she became the first Black woman in the U.S. to earn a medical degree. That's a little fact that might not be fully published, but wanted to share that. And a bonus, because I'm not sure this is factual, but this is what it said. Bass Reeves was an African American. It's believed that he is an African American who escaped slavery during the Civil War and inspired the character the Lone Ranger. So,
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact.
Okay. All right. So and that for me was interesting because, of course, growing up as a little kid, Tonto and Lone Ranger, but to find out he was African American, it was inspired by African American. Wow, we have done greatness in this world, y'all. We've
done almost everything in this world. We've done everything.
That is so true. That is so true. Okay, so I'm going to say this. Normally, I would have read a shorter version of our guest bio, but I feel to properly honor her, I'm going to read it all because there's some interesting stuff in here. And plus, She is kicking off with us what I am calling Wisdom Wednesdays. She's going to be joining us the first Wednesdays of the month and dropping some knowledge and sharing some insights and some information with us. So, this is the foundation. So, our guest this evening is Mrs. Sylvia Dean Stanback. Sylvia was born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and also spent a great deal of time in Greensboro, North Carolina, where she attended the James B. Dudley High School during her sophomore and junior years. Sylvia's family later relocated to Philadelphia, where she graduated from high school, although she had a full senatorial scholarship to Penn State University. She insisted on returning to North Carolina to attend an HBCU, the North Carolina A&T State University. Look at the shirt. A&T in the house. I think that's labeled the GOAT, the greatest homecoming of all time. G-Ho, greatest homecoming of all time. This was one of the best decisions she claims to have made. She was enrolled as a business education major and graduated in the class of 1963. During her tenure at A&T in the 1960s, she was part of the famous sit-in for civil rights movement, with all of the 4 students being in her graduating class. This also included, catch this, the now well-known Reverend Jesse Jackson, who was a student leader and the football quarterback at A&T at that time. After graduating from college, Sylvia returned to Philadelphia and worked for the late great Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan, founder of the OIC programs, which is Opportunities Industrialization Centers Incorporated. After working in the Philadelphia OIC power training program for many years, she decided to seek international employment. Sylvia worked as a technical assistant to host countries, country nationals in Nairobi, Kenya, East Africa for 2.5 years, and was later employed in a similar position in Lusaka, Zambia. While working in Lusaka, she was privileged to have met members of the ANC, which is the African National Congress of South Africa, which were freedom fighters fighting for apartheid in Namibia, and South Africa. Years later, they gained their freedom, and Sylvia was invited to attend an opening at the Parliament, which was a red carpet event. And while visiting there, she saw her former colleagues, and they were operating in governmental and ministerial positions. What an awesome experience. Most of Sylvia's life has been in the development of vocational and educational and technical training programs in the African American community. She has also served as the executive director of the Los Angeles OIC program in California for two to 3 years. So as you can see, she has done a lot of traveling. So let's welcome Miss Sylvia Stanback to the stage. Welcome, Miss Sylvia.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this.
It is a privilege to have you. And we are going to, before we hand the floor over to you, I just want to talk about some things that are taking place in the world right now. It just seems to be something every day. It's like a circus, and I don't even know if I have enough popcorn to watch the show. Anything you guys can think at the top of your head to see if y'all even hit anything that I have on my plate to talk about. Come on, Shelly. I already see it.
I personally think what's going on in the world is what's supposed to be going on. So, I'm just here to listen, and then I interject. Yeah,
Okay.
you know how I do it.
I know how you do it. You the man. You the man. Okay. Well, then let me ask this question. Has anybody in their respective areas noticed that Walmart is starting to decrease the number of self-checkouts? Is it happening elsewhere? Because I was in Walmart the other day over here off of Cascade Road, and there was not one self-checkout, where before it probably was like 20. And I literally saw cashier. So I started wondering, I was like, oh, wait, they got this DEI thing going, and they're like, wait a minute, we not being a part of this. Thoughts?
I think personally, I think that's a fact, but I kind of seen it before that, and I just think it's an overhead thing because I don't know too many people in self checkout everything. So I think I think they tried it for a few years and it seemed the loss was a lot greater than what they anticipated, and was like, yeah, this isn't working.
Yeah, that and you were probably right on that, but I was just like, but I just had never seen that many cashiers. I was like, this is like pre-COVID.
So everybody's back, huh?
Yeah, they brought it way back, which is good, because I feel like this. Just me. If I go, I'm spending my money in your store. Why am I having to bring my stuff and bag my stuff up too?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. I'm not getting paid to do that stuff. So why am I working for you?
And then you can't get mad because I wasn't trained properly as an employee. Therefore, I wasn't aware of how the scanning worked. So a few items I thought beat, but they didn't really beat. So, you can't get mad at me. I haven't been properly trained at this position, and I was forced to occupy for the moment.
In other words, I didn't know that beat wasn't a real beat that I thought, right? Because sometimes you will hear a beat, but that ain't necessarily the right beat.
Yeah,
but
exactly. That's how
I didn't go through the training program.
Exactly.
Got it. Miss Sylvia, you want to weigh in?
I'm listening.
Okay. All right.
The only weigh-in I have at this point, they're planning, because of the DEI, they're planning boycotts. But when we were involved in the boycotts, we had strategies. Reverend Martin Luther King was a strategist. So was Reverend Leon Sullivan, a strategist. All the people that were involved. And one thing we have to keep in mind, if you're going to boycott, don't forget that in Target and in some of Walmart, there are a lot of Black businesses. So the strategy would be, yes, boycott, but go in, buy Black, and leave.
Man,
don't just boycott, because these Black businesses will have to find somewhere to store they've talked about it, store all of their equipment. They'll lose money. So the strategy is go in, boycott, buy Black, and leave.
Shelly, you was about to say something?
I never thought of it like that. And I wish we had organizers to organize it so more people were aware of that. Because I think people are boycotting it on the strength of boycott the company, like you said, not knowing that many of our products by our people are still in there. So that's a legit boycott. Go in there, just buy our stuff, and we'll get on up out of there.
Well, at least Roland Martin is trying to put the strategies. He's advising us to buy the book, Operation Breadbasket, which I remember when it didn't cost anything. Now, if you look real quick, it'll be $142. But in Operation Breadbasket, it has all the strategies laid out, and he's talking about it on his platform. So I hope they decide, to use some strategy with this.
And you said it's called Operation Breadbasket?
Yeah, the book.
Okay.
And it has those strategies enumerated in that book. And I was so happy to hear Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan's name, because he was one of the greatest Black men known to this planet.
Wow. And you know what? I was just on a video a little while ago. There is a African American app. I want to say it's called, hold on, I don't want to speak incorrectly because I want to put this out here. And it's called Nile.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it has Black-owned grocery stores on here. It's almost like a Black Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something for the community to look into as well to support. I think she said it's like 40 vendors on there now and growing. So like everything from clothes to grocery at Black-owned stores in your particular area. So that's definitely something to look into as well.
Can they put the name of that organization in the chat?
Sure. It's an app, and Abuela. And okay, guys, let me tell you guys in advance. I may switch from Miss Sylvia to Abuela because I met her as Abuela, but which Abuela, just so for those who don't know, is grandmother in Spanish. So she's like a grandmother to me. So, all right. So I think I got that in the chat, but Abuela, I'll make sure you get it. Okay, so. Okay. There were a couple of school shootings lately. One the other week was in Antioch, then the week before there was one in Georgia. So it's like, you know what, that is alarming too, that these weapons are even making it on the school grounds or inside the school. Any thoughts or comments on those?
You know, I'm pro gun, so I don't ever blame the gun at all. So I think you can't say the gun isn't making it to the ground. You have to say irresponsible parents or irresponsible gun owners are making it convenient for adolescent or what do you call them, mentally stable people to have access to their guns, because, you know, no kid's going to the store buying a gun. So he got it from somewhere. Yeah.
I agree. And that becomes the thing. Cause I know, like, even I want to say like last year, I think it was, when the boy there was another shooting in Georgia and his dad helped him get the gun and all kind of stuff. So yeah, people definitely have to become more responsible with that. Yeah. The executive order to defund education. Any thoughts on that? Because I hear it has been signed.
Miss Sylvia, please.
I was going to ask you, when you say defund education, I mean education. When you say defund it, what are they talking about defunding?
Shelly, you the expert.
Well, I think what I don't know enough to say factually, but I think they're just trying to take away a lot of the programs that were like after school programs and stuff like that, to my knowledge, as far as defunding the schools. And Trump, you know, he's made it to where now you could choose the school you want. You're not stuck in your district. And he made it to where you could write off $10,000 a year in private school education, because that was his initiative to defund the schools and all that. And that way, so they can't say Black minority kids are getting stuck with minority educations. Now you could take your child anywhere you want, private school, and get a tax write-off for it, or homeschool them and get tax write-offs for what you spent homeschooling.
Okay, well, actually, that's not all the way bad, unless I'm missing something there. I mean, I see some perks. Enlighten me.
I think it's not all the way. The negative sense of it is school funding comes from attendance, right? So if parents are able to take their children out of school and take them to private school or etc., that will make it where inner city schools are funded even less. Therefore, our books are older. It will affect us in that effect because we won't get the funding needed. We already bottom of the list in funding as it is, but it'll cut our funding. But it's good for families that are able to afford private school. They could get a tax write-off. So now that I say it out loud, I guess once again, it hurts the inner city people even more because they can't afford to go to private school. So it don't matter if they get a tax write-off or not. And now not only do they get the tax write-off or to send their kid to private school, the school that they're forced at is about to be less funded than before. So the education really is about to slow down.
Yeah, and then I can't help but wonder, like, if you get like this mad push, whereas a lot of the inner city kids go to these other schools outside of their district, then what gets put in place at that point? Because of course, any person who wants to improve the quality of education for their children, they're going to send them to another school in a better area. So I'm curious to know what that looks like. But like they say, to be continued. So had something is in the atmosphere because our condolences. There were 2 plane crashes like a day apart. Miss Sylvia, you smiled. You yeah, I'm like, okay, what is going on? I mean, like I said again, our condolences, to the families, to everyone personally directly affected by this loss. And then there was a United Airline flight that caught on fire in Houston a couple of days later. So what do y'all think the universe is trying to tell us right now?
Well, I was smiling because I know that fear lowers the immune system, and fear keeps you vibrating at a low frequency.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree, and I think it's perfect timing that now that this DEI program and stuff is being enforced. Now they want to act like the planes aren't being maintained properly or whatever. But I don't think the two have anything to do with it. I think something else is going on, a deeper, or they're setting up for something. This is just the pre-show. Something big is going to come out of all this, and who knows what this government is up to. That's the scary part.
And I just actually this morning ministered on a prayer call, and my encouragement for the people, I know a lot of people stay glued to the news. They stay glued to the TV, glued to the negativity, and like the word that was just used, fear. And if people stay focused on those things, it's a distraction. It keeps the world and the universe and the people vibrating beneath who they are. So this is really a time that people gonna have to cut it off. They're gonna literally have to cut it off. Like when I say cut it off, I saw a video last week that turned out to be a hoax, but it looks so real with AI. It was an executive order being signed for grown men not to wear skinny jeans. And because it looked like it had been published on Fox News, I'm sitting here like, what? They worried about this, so all of a sudden, I'm getting upset, but at the same time, Tammi, you can't get caught up. But I'm like, why in the world would that be something in the political realm? Then I started thinking back to women not being able to have the choice of whether or not to have an abortion or not. So I was like, okay, they doing too much already. But to find out it was a hoax. And I shared that to just say, just be mindful. Yeah. AI is good, and people, just like was said, people will find ways to keep us distracted, keep us in lower vibrational frequencies, and when we're in that space, nothing good comes to us. And why I wanted this conversation here and Miss Sylvia on the platform, because um because we wanted to hold on, some kind of way I had somebody make it to the platform. I just want to
now, that's all right. Let us stay up there. That's my friend. That's my friend. This is Penelope.
Hi, Miss Penelope. Okay.
And I sent her the link, which I should have sent her the YouTube link, but I don't think anything is coincidental.
Okay. All right.
She's a member of our community book study. She has a wealth of information. So,
okay. All right. Well, welcome Miss Penelope to the stage. Okay. And
like
this is funny.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead, but like I said, just be mindful. And even when you open up your computer and look at your landing page, like I saw this Trump to cancel Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't feed into that. And I know it's hard, but that's all these things are by design. And one of the things that I encourage the people this morning, God is up to something. We don't know what it is, but I am a firm believer that what does Psalm 91 say? That he will give his angels charge concerning each and every one of us. So we're going to be protected. We're going to be safe. But however, we have to be intentional to protect ourselves from what they're putting in and what we're allowing into our vibration, into our space. So now, with that being said, as we get ready to bring Abuela, Miss Sylvia, on. Oh, wow. Somebody put in the chat, we need to cancel Black History Month. Okay, we're going to need to elaborate on that one. Okay, so before she gets started, there's a quote that I found because we're talking about universal law tonight. And the universal law that we're talking about is the law of detachment. And so a quote that I found to open this up: in detachment lies the wisdom of uncertainty. In the wisdom of uncertainty lies the freedom from our past, from the unknown, which is the prison of past conditioning, and in our willingness to step into the unknown, the field of all possibilities, we surrender ourselves to the creative mind that orchestrates the dance of the universe. And so I found that quote. I was like, okay, I think that is good. Okay, so my chatter commented, integrated into our everyday life. So yes, I agree. Black history is an everyday affair. Okay, so I am going to share my screen and allow Miss Sylvia to take the stage, and okay, here we go. All right, you guys should be able to see my screen. So Miss Sylvia, the floor is yours.
Okay, in this illustration comes from the Reverend Hagen's, and it's his idea. It's called the circumference of awareness. And when I was in the classroom, I would always say to my students, hold your hand like this, see this little circle, and then scroll up a little bit, Tammy. Scroll down, yeah. And I would say the space inside of this circle represents my realm of knowledge. All that I think I know about, whatever I think I know, is depicted right here within this circle. I must keep in mind that there is more to know than what is within the circumference of my awareness. And I'm saying this to you, that includes me. So each one of us has our own circumference of awareness, and there's a myriad of things outside of that awareness that you may not know. So bottom line, let's stay open. We'll stay open. Okay.
All right. And let me share.
Okay.
All right, you have your screen.
Okay. And just before, that's fine. Just before I begin, I wanted to remember certain things. In terms of Black History Month, these laws that we are about to talk about, the laws of the universe, they came from ancient Black people, and they were the laws of nature, whatever. Everything, medicine, math, astrology, astronomy, anything that you can name, any discipline that you name, originated with Black people. So every day is Black history, every day. It didn't originate with the Greeks. Okay, the reason why, I'd like to say the reason why the laws of the universe are not taught in the public school system is these laws would be dangerous because they work for the good and they work for those who are negative, as we can see. So it would be dangerous to have this kind of information in the public arena. So I wanted to just say that part. So I'll start with, if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of use the universal laws, that little piece that talks about the other PowerPoint that has the universal laws, where it gives a definition. It's on another separate sheet, but if you don't have it, I can read it.
Yeah, read it, because I will have to pull it up.
Okay. The universal laws. The universe is built upon a framework of universal laws. These laws have been written about and spoken about for thousands of years in the form of storytelling and metaphor, such as biblical stories and the teachings of Buddhism, the Kabbalah, and in Freemasonry. These laws are consistently aligned with peace, love, and divine truth, and they are the framework of the universe. They cannot be negotiated or changed. So if we are to live our best lives, we must align our thoughts, words, and actions with these laws. If you don't, life will be a struggle and happiness will evade us. Right now, the world is going through massive changes. And now more than ever, we are being pushed to align with these laws. Where we are not aligned with these laws, our lives will become more and more difficult. So that's just like a kind of brief synopsis of why these laws are very important.
And so before you get into it, the fact that a lot of people don't know about these laws, it's like, it's almost, it begs to question, like, why keep this if this could have a better impact on this world, because and the people. It's just like the book The Secret. It's like, I sometimes have wondered, like, they know abundance, good health, prosperity, everything is ours. It's we all have access to it, yet they keep it from us. What are your thoughts as to why that is?
I'll say this again. I'll read it. The reason why these laws are not taught to the masses, they work for the good and the bad. And I realize that that's like a polarity. They work for the good and the bad and are therefore dangerous in terms of controlling the masses. If we know who we are, like the ancients say, know thyself. If we know who we really are, that the power of the source or God or whatever name you want to use is within you, and you are in control, you would be hard for these people in charge to control. They would lose control. So therefore, they can't give you these tools because they would lose control.
And you know what? It's so funny that you say know thyself, because that is like anybody that personally knows me knows I am a big fan of The Matrix, and that is one of the lines that catches me every time. Know thyself, know thyself. And a lot of what is happening right now is people are not really, they know the flesh, they know, this body, but they're really not being guided to really tap in and to know themselves. And that's where expanding of consciousness and what one likes to call waking up the masses is concerned. But I will let you go ahead and get started on the law of detachment.
And I'll get back to the ancients put on all of their temples, all of their statues in Kemet, ancient Egypt, man, know thyself. And I used to think it meant know your history. That's just part of it. It meant know that the power you need, the power of the universe comes from within, and everything on the outside, external, has no power. So you have the power to control your own situation, your own reality. With that knowledge, it becomes mass knowledge. There would be no way to control the masses.
Shelly, any thoughts on that one?
I agree with you 300%. Even in the stuff I've read, that's a fact. But in the country we live in the system we live in, it's built off money. So they can't allow us to have that knowledge because it disrupts the system. So as much as it's needed, it's not nothing they would ever let you, teach us. And they do that because they know enough of us won't learn it. And, the strength is in numbers. So if everyone is doing it, that's the only way to work. But with just one or two people doing it, or a small group over here or there, it's not a factor to them. So that's them.
So the universe being all-knowing, all-powerful, limitless, this is the age of Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
And in this age, no matter how much information they have withdrawn from us, in this age, the masses are going to wake up or have their, what they call woke, or they're already aware, millions and millions that we don't even know anything about. But the universe is in control. So in this age of Aquarius, all of this information is just going to be out there. It's just going to come. And people will become more and more aware.
But what's interesting about that is the awakening part is the hard part, because people have been programmed.
Not for the universe.
No. Contrary to that. So therefore, when you have these type of conversations, when you say these type of things to people, they're like, you crazy. I'm not, I don't want to hear that. And which is why I say, everyone is not ready for this conversation. However, I feel it allows people to really start tapping into who they really are, because they don't know. And it's by design. This system that we're in, by design, will keep people not living their potential, not waking up to their true power, keep them focused. And like a lot of this stuff that's going on, I say those powers that be, they know how they're operating. They know what they're doing. And if they can keep us distracted, keep us focused on all this negativity, anything they throw out there, even the weather, some I know I sound crazy saying this, but even some of the weather is man-made, because they have devices. There is a patent out there for creating tornadoes and hurricanes. Google it. It's there. They can create all this stuff. These things are distractions. Any comments?
I agree, but like I stated, it only works if we all on board. So even when you state the universe composes everyone and everything. So everyone isn't on board, then it make it difficult to be where it will affect us as a, as the entirety. And when you say that, even you're including our diet, if we're not vibrating on the right path due to what we eat, the things we intake in our body, that level of spirituality is, I'm not going to use the word impossible, but it's so hard to access if you're not one with the universe. So that goes from our diet, our way of thinking, everything. So, and that's why they keep it from us, because as long as we're divided and nobody knows where they are, why they are, who they are, then you're easily distracted. Like she said, fear keeps you vibrating at a lower level, so you're more entertained by lower level things. So it's by design, especially here. It's by design. And I'm going to say this. I personally think, from my research, it only applies to us, because we are the original people of the land, of the world. So it's not for everybody. It's like
when you say it's not. When you say it's not, what are you saying? It's not
like gaining that access of knowledge and awakening and spiritual ability to manifest things that you want. As she was saying, the laws of everything that the universe gives us naturally is that is only for us. And that's why they keep us distracted and away from that. Because we will take over and dominate things to get back to the original status of this world. Yeah.
Well, you got a co-signer in Miss Sylvia, I see.
Yeah, I mean, facts are facts.
That's what I said. I saw you had a co-signer there. You had a co-signer there.
Yeah.
Well, and that's fair. And but for me, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a moment. I just believe the power is in all. I believe if we all tap into our power, I don't feel that it's race specific or anything, but that's just me.
And I think that's part of the problem, is we've been trained to believe that we're all one big everything, but even genetically, our genetic makeup, our DNA, our everything about us is different from everyone. Even our melanin, I just read a thing where they're putting our melanin in computer chips because of the power it has. We are the gods. So it really does only apply to us. And it's good to think that. And because go ahead, please.
I got a little story when you said that. I was teaching in a little summer school program, a STEAM program, and the children were 4 years old to about 10. And I said, if the first woman that they found, and all things come through women, if the first woman they found, millions and millions of years old, and they named her Lucy because the people that found her were Europeans, what does that mean to you? The first female in the universe was a Black woman. Mm-hmm. This 4-year-old said, that means we're all one.
Yeah,
and so in fact, I think Miss Sylvia, you were on the chat when the book The Science of Mind hit the topic. And I'm listening to that right now. And I do believe that we are all one. But again, that's one of those debatable things. But that's why I just said I am going to play devil's advocate in that, because I just believe in fairness all the way around the board. Go ahead, Shelley. I get it. That's why we can agree to disagree.
Problem that we all believe in fairness, because the universe isn't fair. Laws are here to benefit certain people. Laws aren't for everyone. So nothing in life is fair. It's kind of like, if you look at the deer, when the lion attacks to the lion, the deer is from heaven. To the deer, the lion is from hell. So it's not, life isn't fair. It just works. It just works.
Well, I feel the laws of the universe can apply to all if it's used for good. I think ultimately the foundation of it all is supposed to be love, and we're consciousness, and we're supposed to expand and create in our own reality, create our reality, experience contrast, experience the good of life. And I feel we are to use the universal laws for good, but the problem I feel has happened, which has caused this division, is everyone is not using it for good. And that's why I feel you have some, okay, well, it's because of, it is just for us, or that's just because I feel things have been manipulated. It's all energy. We can manipulate the energy and use the laws. I just feel it doesn't matter what, race that you're part of.
Yeah, it doesn't. The laws work for everybody that uses them.
I agree with that 100%. But that's the, I don't use the word bad. That's the part of it that is the problem. The laws will work for everyone. And seeing that they were made, created, designed for us, but they do work for everyone. Not everyone is on our page, or not everyone is on our mission, even some of us. So unless, like you said initially, it's there for a bunch of good, and also could be used for a bunch of bad, because we are all energy, and what you use your energy for is on you. So unfortunately, unless we're all on the same page, it will be used for bad. And majority of the people that use it for bad aren't
us, and they go ahead. No, just
just
call it out. That's the problem, because it was hid from us for so long. They didn't want us to know. What did they say back in the day? You want to hide something from Black people, put it in a book.
Right.
And a lot of this information have been in books for years, for hundreds of years, as a matter of fact. So everything is fair to say. It's fair to say, but ultimately, I just feel the laws were for everybody, regardless. But those with greed and want to control and have the power, they've misused it. Agreed. And the thing is when you're trying to tell someone who is unaware of the laws, because respectfully, when you're in church organizations, they don't talk about the laws of the universe. They don't talk about those things. They don't talk about the fact that we are energy beings, and that we are pure positive energy, and we're consciousness. And they don't have these conversations. Okay, I see you smirking, Miss Sylvia.
I'm laughing because the church initially, by the Catholic organization, was set up to control the minds of people. Yeah. And so, because they are in charge of the educational system, which includes seminaries, they structured the curriculum for the seminaries for those pastors or those people that come in to teach a certain way. They structure that. Right. So they come in and they know, they know this, but they give you the curriculum. This is what you go and teach. But the thing that keeps me positive is the fact that I know, I call it Mother Earth, the mother of the universe demands harmony, justice, righteousness, reciprocity. So it will rearrange everything to meet that particular curriculum.
Do you think maybe that's why these earthquakes are taking place? Because I think Ohio just had 2, and the Midwest is not a normal place to have them. Now there was one in the Bay Area, which a tsunami warning followed that, but that's coming out on that side. What are your thoughts on the earth? Because that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling the earth. There's something going on, because it's like this is out of balance. everything, this power, this control, all this is out of balance. Thoughts from anyone?
If you get a chance to go to a website, the brother's name is Bedell. The initial B, his last name DELL.com. Some of your questions will be answered. I mean, he's very scientific, but that's a good, Bedell is a good resource.
You know, and I'm gonna say something that's gonna mess you up, Tam. If you think about it, we need both in order to survive. Like the universe wouldn't have to dish out justice, equality, and all those things you named if the latter part of it wasn't there. So is bad necessarily bad? Because it is needed. It's why we had the laws to combat bad. So if it wasn't any bad, we wouldn't have the laws. And so where would we be? So I think the negativity, the bad, the division, is all a part of the design. Is necessary to see that the good is needed and the good is better.
It's like the yin and the yang.
Exactly.
Right. And how do we get people operating in the good?
The universe will take care of that.
So it's up to them to tend to what I like to call their point of attraction, their well-being, and the rest will work itself out. I
concepts. I look at it like this. We're all on different evolutionary levels. I might be in kindergarten. Miss Penelope might be in high school. Shelley might be in grad school. So based on an individual's level of evolution, that's what you have to keep in mind, that everybody's not in the same grade.
That's true.
So we have to be careful how we talk to people. You know what I mean? Because you don't know necessarily before whom you're standing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And that is big. That's why I try to treat everybody with respect, because you just don't know. And even a flip side of that, like a person could be so broken, and when people have these random attacks on people, it's just almost because that it's just like that one more thing that became the straw that broke the camel's back for that individual. So that's why I'm always saying people are hurting, people are struggling, and it's up to us to be that light, to help them, to encourage one another. Go ahead, Shelley.
No, go ahead, Miss Sylvia, please.
When you said that light, it just brings to mind, I remember the elders used to sing, Jesus, the light of the world. Now I understand that character was the light of the world. And the more he went about trying to shine that information, shine that vibration, shine that light. And so whenever we get in a position to shine our light, shine it.
That's a fact. And also you got to remember, some people, the negative realm or vibration, whatever you want to call it, that's where they're happy at. So that's where that's for real. That's where they want to be. That's their happiness. So you can't knock what makes them move. You get what I'm saying? Even though it goes against what you believe in, that's what they like. So I always feel you need to treat people like, if we go around and stop looking at people as people and look at them as balls of energy, you'll know who you want to deal with and who you shouldn't deal with.
Facts. No, I now that I agree with you, because I say it all the time. Some people have normalized dysfunction, and if that's their journey, that's their story. So I let them have it. You know, there's no sense in arguing with somebody, trying to make them see it from your point of view. Like, hey, you with somebody that's hitting you upside the head every time you come home drunk. Why are you staying? And they want to stay. They want to stay. That's that dysfunction that they have normalized.
We'll get into that discussion with the law of detachment.
Woo, okay. So Miss Penelope, since you are on the platform, anything you want to add before we start on the law of detachment?
No.
Okay.
You all
We're waiting on you. She said how knowledgeable you are.
Right. We did not want to exclude you. We did not.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was gonna be here.
Like I said, don't worry about it, Penelope, because you know what we're talking about. But I don't think it was a coincidence that I sent you the link, and I was supposed to just tell you the email, the YouTube.
Yeah, she was supposed to send you to YouTube so you can see it, but it's all good. Okay, so I am going to start sharing the law of detachment. And so somebody put in the chat, water seeks its own level. I agree. I think we all agree on that one. Yeah. Great comment. Thank you so much. Okay, so now Abuela, I'm going to give this to you to go ahead and start talking about, since I had poked my head in there.
So these excerpts from Alan Watts, one of his lectures. And so what I generally do, I read the the excerpt, and if something resonates with you, or somebody wants in the chat to say, can we talk about that, or interrupt, and let's just hear your experience as I read them. Just stop me at any point. Penelope, Shelley, you know what I'm saying? Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The following excerpts are from an Alan Watts presentation on the laws of detachment in relationships. Alan discusses how letting go of attachments to people, expectations, and ideas can lead to profound self-realization and inner freedom. We will learn how detachment opens the door to true love, peace, and healthier relationships. Okay, any comments? I'm going to go to the excerpts. Stop me at any point.
Okay.
Okay. Hold that thing still. All right. When you begin to detach, something remarkable happens. You realize that your attachment was never about them, but about the illusion you built around that person, around them. So we're talking about relationships, male, female, any kind. People, situations, and relationships often act as mirrors, reflecting back to you the parts of yourself you've yet to fully understand. Now, that one I'm going to repeat again. People, situations, relationships often act as mirrors, reflecting back to you the parts of yourself you've yet to fully understand. You got that?
And to that point, a lot of people don't even realize sometimes when they're getting angry at someone else, it's because it's something in them that totally relates to that. And that's what they're really angry about. Yes or no?
I agree with that. It's something that reminds them of themselves, and it's usually something that they can relate to, and they have already accepted it and acknowledged it. They just haven't learned how to fight it or get away from it. So, and that's why it disturbs them, because it's like it's a mirror. You just looking at yourself.
Exactly.
Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you no longer let your happiness hinge upon someone else's behavior, approval, or existence. It is not coldness, but clarity. You stop. Okay.
So I'm sorry. See,
that's good. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what I want you to do.
Okay, so I am always saying happiness is an inside job. And as a matter of fact, I will interject right here. I'm officially launching my life coaching business, and my niche is happiness, because a lot of times people assign the environment, other people, they put their happiness into the hands of others. So it's really important right here to understand what that is really saying. We got to stop looking to outside people. We got to stop looking to the government. We got to stop looking to things beyond ourselves and come to a peaceful place within us to really truly be happy, because that's where your true happiness, your peace, your joy comes from. Any comments on that?
I agree with you 300. Please go.
Okay. I would just like to say, as you talk about happiness, it brings to mind an affirmation or some affirmations that I had during a series of meditations I did last year. And happiness really boils down to peace, because one of the affirmations went something like, happiness is the enjoyment of the good things in life when you have them, and the enjoyment of peace when you don't have them. And I think that sums it up, that whether we have all that we want and need or whether we don't, if we have peace with that, then happiness follows.
And to that point, that's what the Apostle Paul said in Philippians. He said, I learned no matter what state I'm in to be content, aka happy, aka at peace, because again, he's not assigning it to those external forces that will try to disrupt that. Shelly, exactly. You were going to speak.
I was going to say also, which, in my class I always teach people that growth and learning is something you have to be prepared for and open-minded to, because a lot of the information that you get and knowledge you get comes at a time when you're not ready for it. So you can't detach from the knowledge because you don't agree with it. Or even a person, a loved one. A lot of people have people in their life that truly have good intentions for them and are trying to teach them that elevate them to a higher level. Or like in my relationships with people, if I hear this is a place people want to meet, or if I'm doing my domestic class and people are telling me what they want and they want to achieve, and I tell them how to achieve it, a lot of times if you're not ready for the knowledge, it becomes offensive or combative to you. You become furthermore part of the problem. So you have to be open to the learning or to the detachment, because the detachment isn't always necessary from the person. The detachment could be from certain behaviors exhibited by yourself that cause a reaction from the people. So you just have to be mindful of that.
That's true. So basically, sometimes people have to detach themselves from the outcome or what they think the outcome should be.
Like you said, expectations.
Exactly. Because a lot of people, you have, like, for instance, if somebody that's combative in an argument, they're not going to stop until you see what they're trying to get you to see. Mm-hmm. Now, you may not want to see what they want to see, but they want to take your will from you to see what's there, so yeah, very good point. Very good point.
Okay. You stop clinging and suddenly the weight begins to lift. Your suffering was rooted in how others should act or who they should be for you. When you detach, you no longer demand that they fulfill a role in your life. You simply allow them to be who they are, and in doing so, you reclaim your power. Peace is not in controlling others, but in letting go of the need to control. A surprising freedom emerges when you stop grasping at people or situations to make you feel whole. I'm going to read that one again. A surprising freedom emerges when you stop grasping at people or situations. All of that stuff is on the external to make you whole. The mind, which once ran in endless loops of worry and obsession, becomes quieter. You realize that what you thought was love was really attachment. True love allows space, it never suffocates. And I guess you all never had any of these experiences when you were coming up with your relationships with your boyfriend, girl. I can tell you all have never had these experiences, but I understand what it's saying.
Okay, hold on. First of all, Miss Penelope, your affirmation, someone thank you for your affirmation. So I wanted to acknowledge that. And
All right.
and I really like that statement. True love allows space, it never suffocates, because I think what happens so often in life, people confuse love with lust or need with must have or something. I can't think of another word for the must have, but you know, I sometimes don't feel people really truly know and understand the definition of love. Any comments on that?
I think we have to come up with our own definition of what love really means for us. At least that's what I've had to do. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. I said I think love is different for everyone, and the experience of love is different for everyone. So I think it just boils down to two people being on the same page and wanting the same things, and the process in getting it kind of equates to it. But there are a lot of people that confuse attachment with love, or the feeling of you can't do without someone as love, and that isn't always love. But sometimes it is love. It's just how you operate in it.
Oh my gosh, I had a whole thought, but I was letting you get yours out.
I tell you all the time, cut me off when you be having them thoughts.
No, and it tied into something that we said last week. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna let Miss Sylvia continue, but dang, what was it? Okay, I needed to come back because okay, I'm not going to even delay the time. All right, carry on, ma'am.
Detachment gives us the room to love more freely and without expectations or fear of loss. Love becomes lighter, purer, and no longer tangled in the threads of anxiety. When you step back, you may notice how some people drift away, and that's okay. Detachment reveals what's real. Those who were meant to stay will not stay because you beg them, but because they resonate with your truth. Those who leave were never aligned with where you are going. You stop seeing their departure as rejection and start recognizing it as the flow of life. And that's what I wanted. I'm learning to just flow. Mm-hmm. So I want to be a person that just flows with life. Stay present. Don't worry about the future, because the present is the future. Whatever I'm vibing on presently determines the future. So just stay present and flow with life, because everything will take care of itself.
Yeah, now I was gonna say that also that comes with, I'm gonna say, with wisdom and being on the same page with someone, because you have to know, like it's a tricky subject when you talk to people about detachment, because you have to know what you're detaching from. It's not always the person. Sometimes it's habits, sometimes it's behavior. So when you say, I'm gonna see where you read it, how you said those that are meant to be will stay there. Like it's that's only if you two are on the same page, you know. And those that leave weren't meant to be there. I don't think that's true. I think it's like Well, and I hate to say it again, but it's just, if you're on the same page, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be tug of wars, but as long as you have a commitment and you agree to one common goal, there's going to be a lot of things each of you have to detach from without detaching from each other, if that makes sense.
Do you think that sometimes it's necessary to detach from each other?
Yes, the majority of the times it is. But like I say, that comes from either having too big of expectations, or it comes from not communicating and knowing that you have one common interest. So if my idea of love is ABC and your idea of love is DEF, and we're just trying to mash it together, then detachment is definitely necessary from each other. But if my love language is a balance of your love language, then it's not necessarily detachment from each other, it's detachment from old habits that we picked up from other people that we want to apply to this relationship.
Now, is it detachment or communication needed? Because sometimes, just like you just said, you could have one idea of a situation, the other person have another idea, and because there's no communication, which we know the biggest breakdown in relationships aside from trust is lack of communication. And if people do not talk, it's just like you flapping in the wind. So maybe in addition to a detachment, maybe a healthy conversation should take place.
No, I agree 100%. A healthy, honest conversation. Because a lot of people are afraid to say what they feel might hurt someone else's feeling, or risk losing that someone. So the conversation isn't always honest.
Okay, and that's a good point too. And that's an area that needs to be tackled. That's an area right there that, what you say, Miss Sylvia?
I was going to say, so risk losing that person. Can you explain that one? I'm going to risk losing that person.
I said that?
Yeah, when you said like you don't want to have the honest conversation because you may say the wrong thing and risk the person.
Okay, meaning is in a lot of people are afraid of their truth, and it won't match up with what their partner wants. So they're afraid to speak their truth because they don't want to lose their partner. So
is that attachment?
100%. So that's why I said you have to know what you're detaching from. And that comes from that's an honest conversation. Because if you're honest, you will see that we're not on the same page, and you'll realize I need to detach from the person, or I'm attached to this person for the wrong reasons, for the feel-good moments versus the benefits of being with them and the companionship and to me, what I learned from you, or how does being with you improve me as a person? Like, do I trust you enough to listen to you? Do I trust you enough to what you say? I'm gonna think about it before I react to it. Versus I took it personally and you don't know, and I'll just shut the door on you.
Okay. All right. So I really want to acknowledge quick. Our girl Cola is in the chat. She said, hello, everyone. So, hey, Cola, we miss you.
Yeah.
Oh, you are always welcome to come on the platform if you want to, my love. And what you say? Yes, Miss Sylvia. So you are welcome to join us. And Miss Sylvia, your granddaughter is in the chat, and she did agree. Happiness does come within. So yeah, good. Thank you guys. But another thought that I just had, y'all know when I be multitasking, I be forgetting stuff. So Miss Sylvia, I'm gonna let you go ahead and get back on. Oh, you talked about the flow of life. The interesting part, that's a hard thing for people, right? Because people want to be in control of everything. They don't like the idea of not being in control. So how do you encourage people to go with the flow when they're like, no, I am in control of my destiny. I am in control of this situation. Even though sometimes the tighter we hold on to situations, the tighter we try to control, it's like water that's just slipping through our hands. Any comments on that?
I would say what helps me to remember is our awareness is limited, but the power that is within is unlimited. Mm-hmm. I defer to the power. I'm working on deferring to the power that is within, because mine is limited.
Okay. All right. So let me look. Let me throw a little curveball, a little monkey wrench in there. Okay. So as we're going with the flow of life, and we're in an environment right now, whereas we talked about this earlier, they doing everything to throw us so off balance.
But see, Tammy, the thing there, I don't listen to the news. I stopped listening to the news when I was in my 30s because I knew that was a distraction from me getting, I didn't know that I was going to get here, but I knew that it was a distraction. I found out when I went to another country that Voice of America, those news editors and stuff, they lie. And when I was overseas, the only way I knew what was going on in America was from Russian news. So I knew when I came back, you can't listen to them. Mm-hmm. But now I understand it's a fear tactic. They keep fear going. They repeat things 26 times. They have to repeat it 26 times. It's a fear tactic. So I don't listen to any news. Noose. It puts you, Dr. B said it puts you in a noose. I don't listen to any news. I don't participate in any conversations about things in the news because this is the path I want to be on. I want to align with my higher self.
I think Denzel said it best. He said, if you watch too much news, you'll be misinformed. If you don't watch zero news, you'll be uninformed. So you need just
enough to be dangerous.
Just enough to be dangerous and know what their mission is. Okay, I see where they're going with this.
And you know what? For me personally, I think I know their mission. So I'm with you, Abuela. I am not a news watcher. Like this is. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. In full disclosure, this is the most information I get now because of this platform. I'll be honest. It's like I have a bubble, and I really, really try to stay in my bubble because I want to stay in alignment. I want to focus on my higher self. I want to focus on growth, expansion, elevation. And when you are in what I like to call the matrix, which is going to continue to feed all this negativity to the news, like how often do you see on the news good stuff? How? I mean, what's the ratio? What's the ratio?
The purpose of the news. The purpose of the news is to keep people in fear so they'll have a low vibration and they are easily controlled when they're operating in a low vibration.
And so let me talk about that real quick because we done said vibration and frequencies throughout this whole conversation because a lot of people are not aware.
What I'm saying is we are energy.
Right. No, I want to explain that because we've been talking about it, but I want to digress for a moment and explain it. So we are in a vibrational universe, contrary to what we have been told our whole lives. We are energy beings. We vibrate, we radiate things. That there are laws in the universe that's governing this universe, and one I'm always talking about is the law of attraction. Miss Sylvia is talking about the detachment law, but there are many more laws of cause and effect. What's some of the other ones, Miss Sylvia?
The law of correspondence.
Compensation.
It goes on. It's a myriad of laws that we know nothing about that are operating.
Exactly, which is why this may not have been an exciting conversation for others, but it's exciting for me because I feel that we need to become aware of these laws because we're living them unknowingly. And so when our lives are in chaos and out of control, a lot of it is because we're not aware of these laws that are in place, that if we tap into that knowledge and we can use them, we can change our reality. Because it was said earlier, our external is a representation of our internal. In fact, I was having a conversation with someone earlier today that was telling me, like, when her mom died, she had to clean her mom's house, and her mom was a hoarder. But prior to her telling me the hoarder story, she was telling me about the dysfunction of her mom and a lot of things that was going on. So I had to say to her, you're aware that her hoarding was a reflection of what was going on inside of her. Anyone want to comment on that?
It's true. Everything comes from within. Everything. But get back to your point, the different laws. This little book, this one is talking about the 7 spiritual laws for success. It talks about some other laws. The law of pure potentiality, the law of giving and receiving, the law of karma or cause and effect, the law of least effort. See, they go on. The law of intention and desire, the law of detachment. That's the one we're doing. The 6th one, that's the one we're doing. And then there's a law of purpose in life. There are a bunch of laws. And if you go to Google, you can see them. They'll all pop up. You can see the laws.
Okay, and and tell the viewers the name of that book and the writer.
Okay, the name of this little book is called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And under that is the 6th law of detachment. And it's written by Deepak Chopra, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And it's so easy to read. I liked it. Look, you can carry it in your purse, you know.
And I think Deepak, he was Buddha or Hindu?
Doesn't make any difference, but
no. I was also going to mention the energy points in our bodies, the chakras, because I think he was associated somewhere. I want to say I read an association with him and chakras. But so let me read some of the comments. So I definitely believe these laws are true. I believe they don't want everybody to know how to live a good life. That's why they withhold these laws. I tend to agree. Also, the laws are constantly working, yes, whether we know it or not, which is exactly what I was saying. And that's why I want to bring awareness to that so that we can use them for our benefit, put us in alignment to help us. Shelly, Miss Sylvia, Miss Penelope.
I was going to say that's so true that the laws are always at work. And so when things aren't going the way we imagine them to, it's usually because we're not in tune with the law and we're not following the law. We have nothing governing us from our process or progress.
So I'm gonna throw this. Ooh, y'all don't hang me on this one. Well, what do you say to the person who always say it's the devil?
I tell them to look in the mirror. So
That's right.
That was in you. Like whatever you express, whatever comes out of you is within you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't believe there's no devil or unknown force making you do something. There's something in you that's causing you to stray away or to think.
And
my own personal experience with the idea of a devil is this. Once I started accepting full responsibility for everything in my life, the devil disappeared and has never returned. Because I know that whatever happens is because I created.
100%. And if you accept the knowledge of a devil, you're accepting that you're not in control of your own self. And if you already don't think you in control of you what they say, you swam with the wind anyway. So wherever the wind blows is where you'll go.
So therefore, I like to use the term when they say the enemy, sometimes the enemy is the inner me. It's the inner me.
Enemy.
And people got to understand that.
In me is the enemy.
Yes, the inner me. And I promise you, people like to hide behind the devil. The devil made me do it. The devil this, the devil that. And then it don't help when respectfully, I say all this stuff respectfully, church has always been preaching, okay, hell and the devil and this, that, and the other. And that takes the accountability away from the individual.
100%.
And power.
And the power, 100%.
Because accepting responsibility for everything in your life is you taking your power back.
Yes.
You can't give it to external to you and be powerful.
That's right.
That's good. That's good. Okay, Miss Sylvia, let me get back to your presentation. Shelly.
I'm on something else. I'm reading. Cola.
Our girl is with us. She with us. Okay. All right. So I think you were somewhere here around alignment.
Okay. Alignment. The definition, the proper positioning and agreement between people who want to work together. If two people are in alignment, they are the same or similar to each other. That's just the definition. The greatest shift occurs within you. You see that the attachment was not to them, but to the idea of them. Detachment dissolves illusion. And in that disillusion, you find yourself not as a lonely figure standing apart, but someone whole, free, and deeply connected to everything without clinging, it should be, to anything. When you detach, you begin to see the intricate expectations you've woven around others. You realize how much your identity, your happiness, and even your sense of purpose were tied to the roles you silently assigned to them. You expect them to act a certain way and to say the right things to make you feel secure and loved in exactly the way you imagined they should.
Oh, okay. I got one for you on that. So, you know what? That is so true. Like, think about it, right? You have people that, because it goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? They trying to get you to see their point of view, whether you agree with it or not. So it's like what they're saying is my way or the highway. My way is the only way. They don't want you to have your viewpoint, your vantage point. It's always seeing it how they want. And do you know that is a big argument with some people? Like, some people, in other words, are never wrong. Do y'all know those type of people? I know I do.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all do, but I think aside from that, like I say, one, it goes back to communication. You have to be able to express what you want and expect out of the situation. And I think, and this is a small portion of it, we have to remember when we're working with someone has to be the lead, be it whoever it is. And if you're going to work with someone and you and that someone are on the same page, you have to trust their opinion. So I think that is a large part of the disconnect too, because it's like, a two-headed monster is a beast. So someone has to, you got to believe. Yeah, you got to believe in something or someone. If you're expecting to grow out of it,
Yeah. And you know what? I realized where I was going with that. Like, so I use, for example, like in some cultures, in some parts of the country, like we'll say good morning, but somebody else will just say morning. So the person that is used to you saying good morning, and then you say good morning to somebody, and they just say morning, they can get offended by that. That's small, but I'm just using that as an example to the point of, like people expect you to respond how they think or act how you think they should act.
I agree. That makes perfect sense. So that's why it's all about communication and being honest with yourself to be honest with the person you're dealing with.
Gotcha. Okay, so I got a question that was asked for me. So Tammi, with you being a minister and a Christian, do you not agree with speaking of the universe or chakras, because most, if not all, Christians say that is demonic? So that, I feel, is lack of awareness, and I feel that's the closed-minded box that they have put us in. I feel God is infinite, and I feel that, at the end of the day, if chakras are a part of our genetics, our makeup, it's time that we become aware, because a lot of information that's communicated to us is through our, what we call our third eye. And I know that it took a journey for me to be able to say what I'm saying right now, because just like you said, as a minister and as a person that was brought up in the Christian faith, to tap into these laws of the universe and not accept them as the fact that they're not demonic, they're in place. Some of the information I just don't feel was properly shared with us. Anybody want to comment to what I'm saying?
These laws are also in the Bible, but they have been done in a poor misinterpretation of the truth from ancient, scripts. Most of these laws, you will find them in the biblical text, but they've been decoded. And this was deliberately done in the Council of Nicaea, 325 AD. But these principles are decoded, and they're in all of the holy books. The truth is the same no matter what book is in, but they decoded it in the Bible. That's why I still read the Psalms and the Proverbs, because I found these Psalms and Proverbs in ancient texts, word for word, that were written thousands and thousands of years ago. But at least that helped me to know these principles are in the New Testament too, but they've been decoded.
Absolutely. And then even to it's a lot of things that they like to say is demonic, but in actuality is we're tapping into our power. We're tapping into that spirit that's inside of us. And I'm a firm believer, even when you go to scripture, when Jesus said, the comforter is going to be left behind, the comforter is with you, the power is in you. The same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is within us. And I also am a believer that we should know the truth, and the truth is what will set us free. And I feel a lot of truth has not fully been shared with us.
And these laws, we just said that. If you learn these laws, it'll set you free. But so these are universal laws in all these so-called, they're in religions. All these laws are in there.
Exactly. And then also I mentioned earlier, and we talked about it recently, the book Science of Mind. And that book, it talks about the laws of the universe, it talks about God, it talks about Jesus, it talks about all these things that in a more detailed manner of awareness that I feel would empower us more in the Christian faith. That's just what I believe, because it uses it all. Because even, the laws that we're talking about, none of it is apart from God. But because a lot of it is that control factor, because they put the sad part, they put political and religion as another form of controlling of the people, and to keep us in darkness. And a lot of this is to make us aware, to keep us worshiping God, to keep us in our belief, but to just also make us more aware and more free. Because a lot of people are not free because they hear this stuff, they're aware of this stuff, but they're in bondage because it contradicts the way this information has been explained. Just as Mrs. Sylvia just said, these laws are in the Bible, but they wasn't fully explained to us like that. Comments, anyone?
I just know that it's that way by design, because like we said when we first started, they're hidden from us to keep us from our true power. So it's by design. So when you also say you got to know thyself, that these laws are thyself. This is the knowledge they want you to know about yourself, that you are governed by laws that come from nature or come naturally. It's not a man thing. It's natural to you if you know yourself and know that these laws are here for you.
And you know what? And I'm going to interject, and then I'm going to let Ms. Sylvia finish with the presentation, even with the chakras, right? So real quick, I learned if my chakras are closed, I'm out of alignment. I'm out of balance. If they're off, and the reason I became aware of that, because I was in a traumatic situation and I had to take to meditating. I had to that's when I started meditating. I always was a prayer warrior. I always was that, but I wasn't a meditator until I started meditating and allowed myself to become more open. As a matter of fact, Miss Sylvia, it's been about 4 years since we've known each other. She's even seen the difference in me from when we first met until now. But I went through a traumatic experience that changed me, and that came from, that led me on the spiritual journey, elevating to meditation, which as I opened myself to that, then I became aware of the chakras. The chakras are not a bad thing for us, because I've learned when they're closed, I can feel off balance. And so that's where the meditation comes in. That's where the opening, the energy, your heart chakra, you want to permeate love. You want to permeate peace and have people feel better in your presence. You want to, be centered with who you are and your connection. So anybody want to comment on anything that I just said there?
Yeah, I look at the chakras as the wiring, the energy of your temple. So if your house is not wired properly, you're going to have either an explosion, your house going to catch on fire, you're going to be off balance. So those chakras are very important. That's the wiring, that's the energy, different energy points. Mm-hmm. It's like the wiring in your house. This is your temple, this body. That's the wiring in your house. So if they're shut off, if one of those chakras, those wired systems is shut off, it's going to throw you off balance. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We're wonderfully made. I mean, we're hooked up.
And and I do recall, like, long time ago, and I even had someone a couple years ago ask me, why is it, like Christians are not supposed to do yoga and stuff like that. And I feel a lot of that is to keep us from really connecting in to our higher power, to really keep us in alignment. So these things are not demonic. I stand, and I stand before any council, any person, and I stand on that. I don't, these things are not demonic. They're who we are. They're our DNA. Okay, Miss Sylvia, let's get through your presentation. I think I stopped you somewhere
We talked
here.
about relationships. The truth is they were never obligated to pay roles. Your disappointment wasn't because they failed. It was because you're holding on to an illusion of how things should be. And when you're dealing with external, the news, everything that's happening around, on anything on the outside, that's an illusion. Mm-hmm. And it has no power. That's an illusion unless you give it power.
I agree.
Detachment is about liberating yourself and others, not becoming indifferent. When you let go of the need of someone being according to your script, you set them free. But more importantly, you set yourself free. This doesn't mean you stop caring, but you are now coming from a place of oneness rather than demand. You no longer love conditionally based on what someone does or doesn't do. Instead, your love grows from a place of acceptance of what is, not from a yearning for what could be. In detachment, you learn and hold space for others without gripping tightly. You begin to understand that they are acting their thoughts. Their words are not your responsibility. This is a profound shift because it takes you out of the habit of needing people to complete you. I'm going to repeat that one. This is a profound shift because it takes us out of the habit of needing people to complete us. We don't need anybody to complete us. We are already complete. You are already whole, and detachment allows you to recognize this wholeness within yourself. From this place, you no longer project your unfulfilled desires on others. And that's the end of my presentation. I said, may the God of the universe continue blessing our lives.
So what about people that feel, or let me say people who are complete and happy with themselves? Like I say, you have to be happy within to make anyone else happy. So what do you say to people who are happy, they found themselves, they're content, but I think we're born in pairs, or we're designed to be in pairs. So for a lot of people, the union of having someone on the same page as you that you love is the final piece that completes their life and completes them. What about those people?
If you're asking me, I would only refer back to the laws of nature. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't correspond with the law of nature, I can't accept it.
But I say the question again. I'm sorry, I was reading the comments and I missed the question.
I was saying, what about people who have, like, I really started by saying it's true. No one can make you happy. You can only make yourself happy. So for people who have found a way to make themselves happy and are complete with themselves and their growth, I think God made us in pairs. We're all designed to be with someone. So what about the people who feel when they're with someone else that is their completion? They feel completed. Like, like that's their final journey, is their mate, and they feel completed in that process.
I mean, I feel that goes back to what we said earlier about contentment. You can feel that completion. However, it's still, it's almost like they're in alignment with the person that they connected to, and they're having that sense of happiness. But I still feel it's still that completeness had to start from within them in order for it to permeate to somebody else. Now, Miss Penelope or Miss Sylvia, y'all can chime in if you think differently on that one.
Like I just basically on the law. That's it.
Go ahead, Sylvia.
I was just gonna say, you came here by yourself, you're gonna leave here by yourself.
And I was virtually going to say the same thing because my experience has been both. And I'm telling you, what Sylvia just said ends up being the truth. And I'm at the stage and age of life where I have a lot of friends who are losing spouses and they're having to learn how to be complete within themselves without somebody else. Or, you know, in my own case, through divorce after a 40-year marriage. Having to learn to be complete within myself.
Right. But can't you say that during this 40-year marriage, that's when you most felt complete? So it's not that you're not complete. It's just you're relearning another form of completeness, if that's a word.
No.
So
I can't say that during the entire 40-year marriage, I felt as though I was one with and complete because of him. No.
Okay, so maybe complete is a wrong term, but when you found them and fell in love, like how do you describe that? I've never been married, so I don't know, but I have a lot of people that ask that. When you found them and fell in love, you had to feel a form of, I guess complete isn't the right term, but like you had to feel the highest feeling you could have felt if you married the person you were in love with. Isn't that what love is?
Not necessarily. And maybe that's a conversation you and I should have off camera. And I know it could possibly help a lot of other people, but there are so many factors involved, you know, because for me, even the idea of falling in love is a downfall. Why should you have to fall to be in love? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I go ahead, finish. Go ahead, finish.
Okay. So, you know, we're given this illusion of this romantic love where everything is, it's really not what it's all chalked up to be. But we buy into the illusion.
Right.
Until we come to our senses. And so, you know, what, for me, when you talked about, you know, people being on the same page, my experience is this. You attract to you who you are at the time.
Okay. So well, so maybe not love, but do you feel that we were meant to be partnered? Like I don't think no one's meant to be here by themselves.
I think that the way I understand my own experience is that I was meant to be in this relationship because I had things I needed to learn about myself. And it took me a very long time to do that.
Right.
But yeah, I think I was supposed to be there.
Which makes it a necessity. Which makes it a necessity. That's what was needed. That was part of the circle of completion. That was, if you break the circle down into pieces, that was a segment of the circle of life.
And we got to realize that we are male and female. See, so all of this is connected.
Right.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I understand where you're coming. It's true.
Okay.
You got to have the feminine and the masculine, but all of this life journey is to help us to become who we really are.
Right.
It's a part of the journey. All of this is a part of the life journey.
Part of the journey.
Okay.
It is, but I understand where you're coming from, Shelley, and I agree. I do feel that we should have if we desire. You just have some people that may not desire to have companionship or be in a relationship. But if that's one's desire, then absolutely. Because I say all the time, there's nothing wrong with marriage and stuff like that. It really boils down to the people that are in the marriage. Are they compatible? We don't have a lot of cases, because one time I recall, back in the day, they used to always say opposites attract. Well, now that I'm older, I do not want an opposite. We need to be on the same page. And especially now that I know I attract me. So I can't be around here talking about I want an opposite of me, because we're not going to get along. And that's not a peaceful environment to be in.
Right.
So, but let me say this. Go ahead.
And the part of you that you attract, and I, in retrospect, I don't think that we do attract somebody opposite of us. I think we attract a mirror of us that will show us who we are, so that the unhealed parts of us can be healed.
Yes, that's it. That is it. Because yes, that, and so you brought up a good point, and I'm trying to get to the chat because a question was asked, but you brought up a good point. That's why people have to make and I'm using this word intentionally, the conscious choice to stop jumping from one relationship to the next without taking time to do their work, because then they get disappointed to find out they're in the same situation, just a different person. And the reason is because they never took time, because what you said, that illusion, let's use that word, that illusion, I gotta be with somebody, I gotta have somebody, I need somebody to hold me, to hug me. But that is what can keep them just going from one person to the next, to the next, to the next, without healing. Because you got to think, there was some trauma in those relationships. There was some baggage in the relationships. That's why I like Erykah Badu's song Bag Lady. When she say, you gonna hurt your back carrying all that bag like that. That's what people are doing. They carry baggage from one relationship to another, and no one wants to take that time. Even if it happens, it could be longer, but even if it's 30 days, take 30 days to say, hey, how can I clean me up? How can I heal me? How can I go inside and be the better version of me so I can attract different? Just a small shift can change how you attract. Okay. So because we're running out of time, so the person asked me when I was telling my story, so when did the journey start for you? So my journey in meditation started, I started dabbling in 2020 during the pandemic, but I went deep in 2021 when I had an experience that literally had me begging, God, I'm done. Can you please call me home? And that's when my spiritual journey towards healing took place. And that's when, as I was doing that, and then I started becoming aware of the chakras and the rest I've already talked about. And so some other stuff was corroborated. I'm sorry. Like, yes, they are in the Bible. Cause and effect is throughout the whole Bible. It was added, God is spirit and spirit is within. That is scripture, but people to understand or apply that correctly. Okay, hold on. They corrected it. People are unaware because they don't read, but God is spirit and spirit is within the scripture, but a lot of people don't understand that or apply that correctly. And that is true. And so, yes, Proverbs 7:23-7. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Touche, because that is true. And that's what people have to become aware of. As you think, that's who you are. So if you thinking evil, mean thoughts, again, y'all want to blame it on the devil, but it's the inner you that's thinking these things. So it's really important to have a clean heart, a good heart, thinking positive, pure positive thoughts, and those what I like to call fruits of the spirit. Oh, somebody put in the comment, my boyfriend was killed in an avalanche 3 years ago. Our heart goes out to you on that. And everyone says that I should move on with my romantic life, but I can't rest till I recover his body, even though it's frozen under 30 feet of ice. That's wow. Our prayers are with you on that. That one just got me. I definitely have total empathy on that with you on that, and I do pray at some point you do find your healing, and even consider, if you haven't considered talking to a therapist to kind of help you get a path forward, to talk about your feelings. And sometimes in life we're presented with situations, and you guys on the platform can correct me, sometimes we're faced with situations that we may have to move forward even when there's no closure. Anybody agree, disagree, have anything to add to that?
Tammi, would you say that again?
The comment or what I just said?
You just said.
Sometimes in life, we can be faced with situations that we may not have closure to, but we still would need to move forward because we want to be in alignment and still live our life, on purpose. But ultimately, to move forward when you don't have closure.
Okay. The only thing I would add to that is this. As human beings, we attach everything to being the body. We are more than the body. And I don't want to sound insensitive, but did she say it was her boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
He was more than a body. And if she could just understand that his essence, his spirit, who he really is not buried under that snow and ice.
That's what I was thinking. I didn't know how to say it. She just said
yeah.
Because a part of the control in the church is telling you you're born and then you die, and that's the end. It also tells you in that Bible that we are immortal. The spirit never dies. The spirit, who we really are, never dies. And sometimes when we're in mourning, that spirit of that person wants you to stop because they're so happy where they are. They don't want us crying and all of that. And I hear people talk about that situation from the near-death experiences that people have. And they talk about how they died for, you're familiar, in 10, 15 minutes. And they said that experience they had, they really didn't want to come back here. They're happy. They're very happy.
Okay, so I will interject, and I talk about this in my book. It Had to Happen, Release the Past and Step into Your Power. I had that experience. I left my body. I saw my body laying on the bed, and I was floating. My consciousness was floating. And I heard voices. I could not understand the language that they were speaking in, and they were all around me. But I felt so at peace that I did not want to return to my body. I didn't. So what you just said, I have personally experienced, which is another reason why, going back to the question that was asked of me, and maybe I should have kind of mentioned that part. That's also too why I'm also open about a lot of stuff, because I did experience my out of body experience, my death experience, where I did leave. Shelly?
I was just gonna second that, because I too had the same thing where when I passed or whatever, where I was at, I literally was like, I'm fine. Go on, send me wherever you're gonna send me. So it wasn't like kumbaya, but just the feeling was like, yeah, I don't want to go back there.
and every pain, every bit of pain that I was feeling before I left my body, as soon as I got back in it, it all came rushing back. But as long as I was floating in the clouds, I felt like it was amazing. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna go ahead and call it what it is. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah. And so the hard part for me is being that I'm aware of that. And if you guys want to even go deeper, there's a book called Journey of Soul that will really blow your mind with the afterlife. If you really want to do some study, there's a book out there that will open your mind to that. And there's another book called Self Speaks. When you become aware of those things, you kind of like, you understand when people leave this physical body, but they're not gone. That's why I'm always preaching. They're now part of the supernatural forces that are here to help. They're part of the angels. They're now leading and guiding the way. But we have been programmed to think that death is final, but death is not final.
Not at all.
It's not final.
And what may help some people is just to go on YouTube and put in NDEs and listen to the people who've had that experience like you, Tammi. I think it would help them a great deal.
Well, before we end, I just want to thank you for giving me a chance to learn all these things tonight. It's been so wonderful being on the platform, because definitely I didn't want to come on here.
Why?
So nice.
No.
Well, thank you for doing it. Oh, and I want to acknowledge this last comment. Now, Shelly said something. He is absolutely right. Some people love to live in negativity, and that's what makes them happy. Yeah. That's normalizing dysfunction. Yeah. But Abuela, no, ma'am, I love the wisdom, and that's why I labeled tonight Wisdom Wednesdays. And first Wednesday of the month, we are going to have you back, and we're going to have some more wisdom. So I know you got more to share with us. I know you're not done with us. So thank you so much for joining. And even Miss Penelope, thank you for being a part of the conversation, even though you wasn't planning to be.
Sorry to show up looking like this.
But Miss Penelope, let me ask you this. If you had some final words of wisdom for our viewers, what would you say to them?
I would say this. Life is a journey, and each one of our journeys is specifically for us. My journey and your journey are different. And you cannot gauge your life by anybody else. Just live your life to the fullest from your own truth, which is your authority. And you'll be fine.
Love it. Good words of wisdom. Good words of wisdom. Shelly, any final words for the people tonight?
Just thank everyone for joining, and it was great. I definitely learned so much that I was grateful for, and that I think for people, I've always said this, I said to my daughters, always be who you are, because then you'll know who really likes you for you. And the ones that was acting like they like you, they'll detach on their own.
Yes, I love it. Detaching. Yes. Love it, love it, love it. Great, great, great final words there, Shelly. Oh, and Cola put in the chat, you lifting weight, Shelly.
Yeah, I've seen that. Tell her I'm still on last week.
Oh, all right. Look, since you couldn't get her, she gonna get you tonight. And Abuela, Miss Sylvia, any final words that you have for the viewers tonight?
I would just say no matter what situation we find ourselves in, just keep on believing in yourself and desiring what you want in life, because the universe will bring it to you. The universe will rearrange everything to meet our desires.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know what? When you just said that, I wish Cola was on the platform because she would be like, yes, yes, yes on that. I already know. And that is true, which is why we had the virtual vision board party a couple of weeks ago, because you can visualize and you can manifest anything you desire. And I just feel by design they're trying to keep us away from that, but don't allow them. Do not give the external forces the power over your life. Use the power that's within you. Stay focused. Use the energy, because you have the power to manipulate and shift the energy and reflect how you want to appear in the world. So be a good person, be a loving person, be a kind person. And for those who joined late, go back to the beginning. Miss Sylvia shared some really good strategies, information on these potential boycotts that are taking place. But let me just go ahead and say it. Be strategic about it. We don't want to shut down Black businesses. So she was saying, like, go purchase what you want and then, boycott the store from there, however way you want to move in that. But be strategic about it. Roland Martin is offering tips and suggestions on that. And then I just want to add, for DEI, I love how this preacher, I heard a pastor put it. He said DEI to him means he definitely earned it. So he's earned the right to be who he is. And that's for all of us. We've earned the right to be who we are. So don't let no one dummy you down. Don't allow no one to dim your light. You keep shining. I am always going to go back to the light. You are light in darkness. Don't let no one and this media and all these shenanigans, these fake videos, these fake news and all this stuff, don't get distracted. Turn it off. Spend time with God. I'm always saying that. Spend time in God. It came in the chat. The scripture, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Think on those things which are lovely, which are just, which are pure, of a good report. Think on those things. And so I just want to always thank you guys for joining, to my guests, my pop-up guests, Miss Sylvia, Miss Penelope, and always my man Shelly, my ace, my counterpart, to my girl Cola, who couldn't be here. Love you all. Thank you all. And if you guys find any of this valuable, give us a like, because we are really growing this platform, and there's going to be more information like this to help empower us and expand. That circumference of a circle that she was talking about, we want to get beyond that, because remember, a lot of times God is confined to a box, but this is an infinite universe. It's vast. He's not about a box or the circle that many have put him in. So it's time for us to open our minds. And so we'll be back here next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And I am going to leave you with this quote. The greatest glory in living lies not in falling, but in rising every time we fall, by the late, great Nelson Mandela. Wow. So I want you all to go in peace, be empowered, and may God continue to bless you on your journey. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Everybody.
Love.
Mm-hmm.